The accounting firm of Haynes, Eisenbarger, and Skiba presents the 24th College Football Hall of Fame season of Fighting Irish Preview. And now, the Banditos' fresh-made daily kickoff with your host, Phil Houck.
Ladies and gentlemen, just back from his triumphant tour of Micronesia and back by popular demand, it's the Fighting Irish poet, Sir Philip Houck.
Thank you. Oh, you are so kind. Oh, I love you too. Thank you so much. I call this one the glow of 8-0. 2020, the college football year of COVID. We've loved our Irish and we voted. A bye-week ranked number 2 at 8-0. Let's review the games and enjoy the glow. Week 1, the Dukies, they were tough. Valiantly fought to call our bluff. But we got to know a man named Kai Wren. Running the football became his playpen. Next up, South Florida, Charlie Jr. coaching them up. A guru of offense. An ND guy since a pup. The defense tenacious. And Sibo a stud. A 52-0 bashing. Charlie's offense a dud. Game 3, Florida State, they came to town looking to avoid an Irish beatdown. But points were cheap. Kyron Williams ran wild. The once great Seminoles again were defiled. The Cardinal next came looking to spoil the role. Jonathan Dorr for a half, the offense's soul. The O-line then inflicted insult and injury. A brutal close game ended in victory. The Pitt Panthers then hosted the first game on the road. Proud of their defense, Narduzzi's blather flowed. The Irish offense showed balance. Skoranek scored 2. Ian Book in the defense led another breakthrough. On the road against Georgia Tech, the Irish favorites to blow out the Ramblin' Wreck. 31-13 win, just an oh-hum day, but a perfect 6-0. With number 1 on the way. The game had been circled. Kelly had to admit the Irish greeted Clemson with old-school spirit. Ian, Kyron, McKinley, Davis, the defense, and number 1 went down. A monster step taken towards an elusive national crown. Now, the Irish have gone to 8-0 at BC. Skoranek and Book, they hooked up for 3. Penalties and turnovers, a bit of a mixed bag. But the glow of 8-0 is something to brag. Oh, thank you. Oh, you are wondrous. I owe it all to the Irish. 3 more to go. We can do this. Then the playoffs. Thank you so much. You are so kind. Thank you. Banditos with 3 Fort Wayne locations, Waynedale, Georgetown, and Glenbrook Commons. Banditos is fresh made daily. Now, stay tuned for Fighting Irish Insight from America's foremost authority on Notre Dame football, Tim Priester, senior editor of IrishIllustrated.com. After these words from Haynes, Eisenbarger, and Skiba, Sheer McCulloch Auctioneers, and Flight by Yingling. Only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories. Raise the bar. This is Fighting Irish Preview.
The University of Notre Dame exemplifies dedication to hard work, integrity, and personal values, which result in success in the classroom and on the football field. The professionals at Haynes, Eisenbarger, and Skiba, like Notre Dame, know the same dedication, and their experience and expertise provide peace of mind for you and your business. Tax planning, tax compliance, auditing, business valuation, and estate planning, the full-service accounting firm of Haynes, Eisenbarger, and Skiba, like the Irish, has what it takes to help you achieve success. Located in Fort Wayne near Jefferson Point, Haynes, Eisenbarger, and Skiba proudly supports Notre Dame football and congratulates all those who are a part of the greatest tradition in all of sports. Go Irish!
This is Art Salzberg. I don't endorse everybody, but I found a company that I think provides a great service. The company is Shearer McCulloch, And what they do is targeted specifically for seniors, people who may be thinking about downsizing and are overwhelmed by the thought of what it's going to take. Shearer McCulloch will pack you up, move you, and then sell your house and everything that's left. Now that's the most comprehensive relocation service anywhere, and what I call in sports terms covering all the bases. Shearer McCulloch uses an international auction platform to make sure your possessions are seen by the right buyers. They're looking to get top dollar from people who have an interest in the special treasures you've collected over the years. Shearer McCulloch is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and highly recommended by leading retirement communities and law firms. If Sharon and I decide to make a change in lifestyle, we'll be calling Shearer McCulloch at 441-8636. That's 441-8636. We trust them, and we know they'll make things easy and profitable.
Introducing Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yuengling. Now available wherever beer is sold. PG Yuengling & Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Now back to Fighting Irish Preview with your host, Phil Houck.
Well, Tim Priester, another win by the Irish. So what's this week's perception? And I think it might have something to do with good play by the wide receivers and a defense that maybe looks a little tired.
Yeah, I think Brian Kelly said that they played tired. They were tired. And I think we saw that on occasion. I think that in this day and age with the amount of offense that's out there, giving up 33 points to Clemson in regulation and 31 at Boston College isn't exactly imploding. But, by Notre Dame standards, their scoring defense has almost doubled in the last couple of weeks. So, there are things that they need to get better at. They need to get more of a 4-man pass rush, and the corners need to be more sound and more consistent productivity out of the Buck linebacker. But I'm nitpicking there. This is still a great defense, and I think the week off will certainly help them.
Well, I think you made the point this week in one of your articles, or at least I read it on Irish Illustrated, and that is 40 points and 31. Yeah, that's a lot by Notre Dame standards. But if you look at college football these days, those point totals are nothing compared to what's going on in a lot of places. I want to talk about those wide receivers, Tim. First of all, I'm not going to go to the obvious guy. I want to talk about Avery Davis first. I see him as just continuing to improve, and I always believed, and you can correct me on this, that he was one of the team's fastest guys. Shouldn't we expect his role to expand? I mean, maybe return punts or something like that, because the man is playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, he really is. And I can remember being at the Pittsburgh game. He caught a couple passes, and I thought, he's fast, but he's just not going for it. I know he's faster than that. Well, since then, he's going for it. And he's catching the ball, and he's catching it at full speed. They ran a jet sweep with him, and he ran for 29. And we saw just how explosive he can be. And I think a lot of times it comes down to an athlete just having confidence in his ability. He was a quarterback by trade, so he's still learning the wide receiver or the slot receiver position. And so I think just the confidence kicked in. And once the confidence kicks in, we start to see what a truly fast football player he is.
Yeah, I really like seeing him coming out of that slot. And all right, let's talk about Ben Skoranek. 3 touchdowns all by halftime, now established in the red zone, and that's a weapon that the Irish really needed. Tim, how good is Ben Skoranek? Does he have next-level skills?
It's a little hard for me to judge that. You got to be great to play in the NFL. I think Skoranek's done a really nice job. They accentuated him in the red zone. He wants the ball. He's a confident, aggressive football player. As you mentioned, they need help in the red zone from their wideouts making plays, and he stepped forward and did that when Notre Dame had to settle for a field goal on their opening drive. He went back to the sideline and shared with the coaching staff that if you throw me the ball, I'll catch it in the end zone. And lo and behold, they did it 3 times, and he caught all 3 for, as you mentioned, first half touchdowns. He's a really good college football player. I love the fact that he chose to come to Notre Dame to prove that he is a high-level performer coming from Northwestern. I don't know about the NFL. I do know that he's 6'3", 225, somewhere in that range, 230. He's got very strong hands. That was something we saw one spring practice, and it was obvious that he was a guy that you could throw the ball to in a contested catch situation, and he was strong enough to come down with it. So playing really good football and moving forward, a very key member of that passing game.
Yeah, well, big, fast guys who catch the football always seem to be able to find jobs. Fumbling issues. Three lost in the last game, 7 fumbles lost in 8 games. Tim, the Irish lost a grand total of 9 fumbles in the previous 2 seasons, 26 games. Now 7 fumbles lost in 8 games. That horrifies me. Or have I been just spoiled by the great ball security we have seen in recent years, or is this really a problem?
I think we are a little spoiled. 9 fumbles lost in 2 years is a pretty ridiculously low figure, but I think some of these are correctable. First of all, one of the 3 Saturday was the exchange between Ian Book and Chris Tyree, and I think that's just, a freshman not knowing when he has to go ahead and take the football from the quarterback. The one with Kyron Williams, that's just a ball security issue. When you sidestep a tackle and then head back upfield, you have to know that there are defenders coming up from behind, and he didn't protect the football. So I think that's fairly easily corrected. And Skoranek, it was the third one. And I don't know. I thought he secured the ball pretty well. It was punched out. You have to be aware in today's game, the defenders are going to try to rake and punch the football out of it. Logie Gilman made a living off of it the previous 2 years. So you have to protect the football more than you used to, because one guy's tackling and the second and third guy coming up are trying to dislodge the football.
Yeah, well, I really like the fact that the Irish come back and continue to show confidence in Kyron Williams right away, and he answers the bell, a great talent. Hopefully he can clean some of the other issues up. Okay, one area of obvious concern, the story that hit early this week, and something that we really didn't know anything about during the game, and that's center Jarrett Patterson. Now, we usually talk about injuries in the second half, but I think this one's one that needs a little more discussion. How do the Irish replace Patterson, who was really playing good football on that offensive line? I understand there's 4 candidates.
That's been whittled down to 2, really. And, Patterson, he did a solid job last year as a first-time starter, a redshirt freshman last year, but this year he's just moving people off the football. A really smart kid, a quick study, and it's a significant blow when you're talking about offensive line that's competing for the Joe Moore Award. But it's really come down to either Josh Lugg, who's been a tackle but has dabbled at center, particularly in the spring of 2019, and then redshirt freshman Zeke Correll, a very aggressive, active center, a center by trade. I think they tried to straighten that or come up with a conclusion this week, or at least heading into the weekend with Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. I would think on Monday there would be a pecking order. My guess is it's going to be Josh Lugg because he's a redshirt junior. He's 6'7", 310, which is a little bit long for the center position. But now you have all seniors or redshirt seniors up front. And, this is a line predicated upon size and power and running the football. And I think I think Zeke Correll could do a fine job. They may end up picking him, but I think it'll be Lugg. And I think it's just the age and time in the program. And he's a versatile guy. He's really kind of been the backup at all those positions for the last, certainly for this season and at times last season.
Well, it's really nice to have those options, and also nice to know that Josh Lugg at 6'7", that I just like the sound of that. Correll pretty big too. And it's good that we're having a bye week to get those guys acclimated to the center position, because that is an adjustment. Tim, running back rotation now. Kyron Williams, Chris Tyree, Sibo Flemister. Is there room for 3 in this backfield?
I think there is. I think you look across college football, and a lot of programs, a lot of teams are using as many as 3 backs. I think so. They all bring a little something different. We saw Flemister as the power guy that won't go down. Kyron Williams won't go down either, but he's a little bit more slippery, but he plays with power too. And then Tyree's more of your breakaway back, although I thought against Boston College, he ran with some power as well. So I think in this day and age with the specialty of positions, the variety of ways that running backs can be used, whether it's straight out of the backfield or in the slot or a jet sweep or whatever, I think you can. Now, there are going to be games where you're going to accentuate one or two over the third one. But, a lot of times, especially with an undefeated Notre Dame team, there are opportunities where they get ahead and you can use all three. So I think it's a good situation. I think each one of them is talented and they all bring something to the equation that's positive.
Yeah, it's great to have that depth and three guys. What a luxury for the Irish. Handle this one like a quick hit. Tim, is Ian Book, whose level of play has raised for the second straight game, really just playing his best football ever. Should he be a Heisman Trophy candidate? Is he?
I think that's a little premature, and I a lot of people thought he should have been unseated until as a starter until 2 games ago. But no, I think it's premature. 11 touchdown passes, just 1 interception. I know he's a runner. I don't know exactly who all the candidates are, but I think that's a bit of an overreaction based upon 2 games, albeit against one of them against the number 1 team in the country.
Well, maybe a Lifetime Achievement Award is what I
would agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And 8-0 says a lot, but you're right. The numbers that he's putting up are just not Heisman Trophy gaudy. And we're going to talk about a Heisman Trophy candidate or quarterback from Notre Dame in the second segment. Now, Tim, bye weeks give us the opportunities to look beyond the season into the future a little bit. So let's talk just a bit about recruiting. Currently, the class of 2021 is rated number 8 nationally. 22 recruits now. One just came in late in the week. Has the Irish's success on the field been a factor? Is it helping at this moment with recruiting?
I don't think there's really any doubt about that. They got Riley back, the cornerback that had decommitted. They received a commitment from a kicker, Josh Bryan, who was verbally committed to Colorado. And they got Kahanu Kia, a linebacker from Honolulu, from actually the same high school as Manti Te'o. There's no doubt. I mean, when you beat the number 1 team in the country and you're 8-0 and you've won 41 out of 47, it's difficult to not notice Notre Dame if you're a top recruit. I think that the 2 key ones coming up, Caleb Johnson, who's verbally committed to Auburn, but a guy I really love, Kelvin Gilliam, who's a defensive end who's committed to Oklahoma. Those are significant catches if Notre Dame can get them. I think they expect to get both of them. I think Kelvin Gilliam is a Khalid Kareem lookalike in terms of how he plays the game, maybe only with a little bit more of a pass rush. So some big things are happening. When you start taking away defensive linemen from Oklahoma and offensive linemen from Auburn, you've caught the attention of everybody out there.
No doubt. And as I said, the Irish ranked 8th nationally. They could move up a little bit. Interesting to note, though, that the 3 of the teams that are ahead of Notre Dame include, of course, Clemson, Ohio State, and number 1, Alabama. So the rich always get richer, and with the Irish success, hopefully they're going to get richer. Tim, you talked to athletic director Jack Swarbrick this week, and so far I've only seen one segment. It's going to be a multi-part article on Irish Illustrated, but Swarbrick, in my mind, always an interesting interview. Here's my question. Clark Lee and Tommy Rees, and he had some rave reviews for those 2 coaches. Is it possible that Notre Dame has a coach in waiting? And I know you brought that up with Jack Swarbrick.
Yeah, if that's true, it's conversations that we're not going to be privy to. And that's the way he wants it. Although 7 months ago, Muffet McGraw retired and Neil Ivey was the coach in waiting, and nobody knew about that when she was named. So it could happen, but here's the thing. Brian Kelly's contract is through 2024. He could stay longer than that if this current streak of success continues. Jack Swarbrick said that coach in waiting when you're many, many years out from when your head coach is expected to leave can be divisive. So, but clearly, Clark Lea in particular, Tommy Rees, he's a young guy, but Clark Lea in particular is a guy that projects as a head coach at Notre Dame someday. And Swarbrick was talking about what a good fit that both of those guys are for Notre Dame. So that opens up possibilities down the road. But the whole coach in waiting theory, how many times does it happen? It's really a very, very rare occurrence. It happened with Urban Meyer and Ryan Day. But you've got to be careful about those situations. If Notre Dame ever approaches Clark Lea about being their head coach, he'll take the job. I don't think we have to worry about that.
Okay, well, maybe there's a double secret type of agreement or something like that. Tim, one last one. Finals this week. Students then leaving campus. Semester over. For the bubble for these players that are, of course, staying on campus changes significantly. Is that a good thing? I mean, have we seen possibly the worst of the risk of COVID spread with the students leaving campus?
I would hesitate to say that. Anytime you give a football team Friday, Saturday, Sunday off,
oh, good point.
Bad things can happen. But this has been a very disciplined football team. They know what's ahead of them. They know what they've accomplished. They know the situation awaiting them. Now, it only takes one or two guys to make a bad decision in the COVID era that can make things really difficult for a football team. But being on campus by yourself, less students, less distractions, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing either.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Coming up, it's the all-time Irish hero, key to an Irish victory, injury report, and the world-famous Irish Illustrated prediction. And during the break, it's the Fighting Irish Fact of the Week, brought to you by Ron Wise and the Wise Insurance Agency. This is the 349th edition of Fighting Irish Preview.
Shine a little light into my room. Oh, I'm sure the morning sun can eliminate my gloom. If it shine a little light into my room, all I want is some sunshine, sunshine, shining through these windows of mine. And I want it to be easy, easy. Your clear choice is Bushy.
Treat each house as if it was your own. Our mission statement at Bushy's Windows, Doors, and Remodeling. Hi, I'm Jim Bushy. At Bushy's, we're proud of our home improvement products that we offer, and we are even more proud of the award-winning installers who will come to your home. Right now, take advantage of our 12-month 0% interest payment plan, and estimates are always free. So call Bushy's at 456-1247, stop into our showroom, or check out bushysfw.com. Bushy's Windows, Doors, and Remodeling. Your clear choice.
Your clear choice is Bushy's. Your clear choice is Bushy's.
The Fighting Irish Fact of the Week is brought to you by our friends at the Wise Insurance Agency. After bye weeks in the Brian Kelly era, the Irish are 12-2. Call Ron Wise at the Wise Insurance Agency or go to thewiseinsuranceagency.com and get an auto or home quote in less than 5 minutes.
Introducing Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yuengling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yuengling. Now available wherever beer is sold. DG Yuengling & Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Now back to Fighting Irish Preview with your host, Phil Houck.
This is Fighting Irish Preview. The number 2 ranked Irish have a bye this week. Their next game will be on Friday, November 27th, the day after Thanksgiving, at number 24, North Carolina. TV coverage for that game will be on ABC and start at 3:30 p.m. South Bend time. So plan your holiday weekend accordingly. And it's now time for the all-time Irish hero, brought to you by the Marina at Lake Gauge. Chris Craft, Mastercraft, and Premier Pontoons. We share your boating passion. This week we're going to take a break from our series on the great pass catchers of the Brian Kelly era so that we can honor a member of the Notre Dame family that was lost recently. Paul Hornung passed away last Friday at the age of 84. Horning, the golden boy, accomplished the near impossible. In 1956, he played quarterback for a really bad 2-8 Notre Dame team, but was so good that at the end of the season, he was named the best college football player in the nation. A native of Louisville, Horning became the fifth Notre Dame player to be named as the Heisman Trophy winner, and like his predecessors, he won it because he was versatile. That year, he finished second in the country in total offense, was responsible for more than half of Notre Dame's yards gained, led the Irish in passing, rushing, scoring, kickoff and punt returns, punting, place kicking, passes broken up, and was second on the team in tackles and interceptions. Oh, and he averaged 6 points a game after the season as a player on the basketball team. Horning was the first pick overall in the NFL draft. He went on to a stellar career in the NFL with the Green Bay Packers, where he played halfback and handled kicking chores. Teaming up with the legendary Vince Lombardi, he won championships, MVP and All-Pro honors, and led the league in scoring 3 consecutive seasons. After retiring, Horning went into broadcasting, and for years he teamed up with Lindsey Nelson on the Sunday morning Notre Dame replay. Later, he teamed up with Tony Roberts on the Notre Dame radio network. Paul Horning is the only player to win the Heisman Trophy, be selected as the first overall selection in the NFL draft, win the NFL Most Valuable Player Award, and be inducted into both the professional and college football halls of fame. Tim, some have said Paul Horning was the greatest player in Notre Dame history.
Well, he certainly was the most versatile. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I don't even know if versatility encapsulates just how diverse his game was. But all the categories that you said he led. And he was, I guess in some respects, that makes him a little ahead of his time. Although I guess it's more of a specialty game now. But the Golden Boy, big personality, rare personality. He wore it very well. There's no doubt about that. I was in his presence. I never had the opportunity to meet him and speak with him, but he did. He commanded a room. He commanded the people in attendance, and that's why he was Golden Boy.
Very colorful guy, and a quote that I read in his biography or his autobiography called Golden Boy was this: "Never get married in the morning because you never know who you might meet that night." And that is Paul Horning. 1956 Heisman Trophy winner Paul Horning, the Golden Boy. Another Marina at Lake Gage all-time Irish hero. May he rest in peace. And it's now time for the Aspen Mortgage early line on an Irish victory over North Carolina in 2 weeks. Tim, Mac Brown has really moved this program forward in just 2 seasons. They stand at 6-2. Their 2 losses were narrow defeats to Florida State and Virginia. Last week they beat Wake Forest 59-53 and are also enjoying a bye this week. Tim, what can you say? They score a lot of points. They're loaded with good receivers, are among the national leaders in scoring and total offense. On the other hand, they've given up 30.8 points per game. They're 97th against the pass, and they give up a lot of sacks. Tim Priester, what is the Aspen Mortgage early line on the Tar Heels?
Well, they have more weapons than Clemson offensively. They really do. That's how deep they are. Couple thousand-yard rushers, or guys that will be 1,000-yard rushers. Receivers, a multitude of receivers. Sam Howell ties it all together at quarterback. They are really good offensively. As good as Notre Dame's defense is, Notre Dame's defense is going to have a really hard time keeping this team out of the 30s. Having said that, as good as they are offensively, they are that bad defensively. And so when you compare these 2 teams, when you go on the road, you'd like to have the better defense, and it's not even close. Notre Dame clearly does.
And that is Tim Priester's Aspen Mortgage early line on North Carolina. And Tim Priester, for this week's Aspen Mortgage key player, let me throw out a name for you to talk about. Kurt Hinish. He doesn't show up in a lot of stats this year, but he has been an anchor in the middle of the Irish D. And Kurt Hinish had an inauspicious debut the first day you saw him on the practice field.
Yeah, he had a uniform on that looked a little bit too small for him, and it wasn't a great look for a nose tackle. But no, really good ball player. A lot of respect for Kurt Hinish. He puts the team first. Football is important to him. It was from the day that he walked on campus. as far as representing Notre Dame on the football field. A lot of respect for him, does a lot of the dirty work, has really done a pretty good job, though, of for a nose tackle penetrating this year and making some stops behind the line of scrimmage. I think it really, Notre Dame's stout defense, it starts right there in the middle with him. A lot of respect for Kurt Hinish.
And I understand he has a brother who may be on his way to South Bend as well?
Well, he has a brother by the name of Donovan Hinish who was just offered a scholarship. He'd be in the class of 2022. If he's anything like his brother Kurt, I think he'll probably end up choosing Notre Dame.
Well, it's all about attitude with Kurt Hinish, along with some physical skills, and he's been fun to watch play. Kurt Hinish is your Aspen Mortgage Key Irish player this week. Aspen Mortgage. For all your mortgage needs, call 486-LOAN, and it's now time for the Injury Report, brought to you by Indiana Physical Therapy. Your choice for physical therapy now with 20 Indiana locations. Tim, we've talked about the season-ending injury to Jaret Patterson, a major loss. But bye weeks are great for getting healthy. So where do the Irish stand this week?
Well, by the day after Thanksgiving, Braden Lindsey should be back with the Notre Dame team. Not in the starting lineup, but a guy that you can bring in, offers a lot of speed. It would be good to have him back. Sebo Flemister appeared to be in a pretty serious condition late in the Boston College game, but we were told that it wasn't serious, the leg injury that he had. So he should be back in action. But this team really, everybody always says the bye came at the right time. It clearly did for this team. Maybe not for Ian Book, who probably would like to play this weekend again, but certainly for the defense, which was showing a little bit of wear and tear after playing 6 weekends in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, the Irish have actually played 8 games to this point, and there's only 3 or 4 other teams in the country that have played that many. Thanks, Tim. And that is the Indiana Physical Therapy Injury Report. And it's now time for the world-famous Irish Illustrated prediction, brought to you by IrishIllustrated.com. Tim Priester, the Irish have 3 regular season games left as they make a bid for an undefeated regular season. Give me a few words on each and set an early line for those games. And we probably already have one for the first one, and that's North Carolina. And I'm going to give you the percentage that they are favored by on ESPN, 70.7% favorability for the Irish over North Carolina.
That's pretty high for a North Carolina team that has a bunch of offense, but I think the line opened at 6.5. If it creeps above a touchdown, I wouldn't be shocked, but that's a lot of offense to be giving North Carolina points at home. So, it'll be interesting to see where that goes, but Notre Dame can pack that defense when they travel to North Carolina, and they're going to need it.
Okay, and then December 5th, the Irish back at home against Syracuse. The Irish 97.6% favorites in that game.
Yeah, it could be higher than that. That percentage actually, Phil. Syracuse actually has done some good things defensively. I know going into last weekend, they were leading the nation in turnovers caused. Their defense has been better than anticipated, but they're not going to be able to keep pace with Notre Dame. Being at home at Notre Dame, somewhere in the vicinity of 24.5, 27.5, a little bit higher. I think something along those lines, Phil.
24.5 or something higher, the Irish over Syracuse. And the regular season finale, when the Irish will be going for a perfect 11-0 at Wake Forest. This is the game that was rescheduled from September. And that game will be on December 12th. The Irish are 79.3% favored.
Yeah, another quality offense. Sam Hartman, that Notre Dame knocked around a few years ago, has ascended to the starting role. A real feisty, fiery player for them. Very productive, somebody that you have to be aware of. That could be high scoring too. They're not as likely to score as much as on paper anyway that North Carolina would. But I would think that line would be Notre Dame favored by, boy, I don't have a real good feel for that, Phil. I don't know, 10.5, 12.5, a little bit more.
Okay.
They have enough offense where they can compete with most teams.
Yeah.
And they won after they lost their first 2. They'd won 4 in a row and then lost a shootout to North Carolina.
I'm guessing my feeling would be somewhere in the 2-score range, 10-14. So, according to that, the Irish would finish the regular season at 11-0, and that is Tim Priester's world-famous Irish Illustrated prediction. And I completely agree. Fans believe it. An undefeated regular season is within Notre Dame's grasp. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Phil.
Go Irish, and thanks for listening to Fighting Irish Preview. Special thanks to Jim Shovelin, Art Salzberg, and studio producer Adam Schenkel. Fighting Irish Preview is the copyrighted property of Judge Phil Productions.
Podcasts by Federated Media. Podcasts by Federated Media.